Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh. Welcome to another riveting game of StarCraft 2. Here we have Grubby on Grubby Esports. That is actually the name of his team. He just made his own after he parted ways with Evil Geniuses. He was their flagship Warcraft 3 player. Now he's just his own team, and his wife is actually his player manager, which is, just him at the moment. But Grubby is the blue Protoss up here in the top right corner of Tal'Darim Altar. His opponent today is going to be none other than Evil Geniuses EG.IdrA. These guys were actually teammates for a short while before Grubby split ways, but I don't think they ever actually practiced with each other. That was back when Grubby was still the Warcraft 3 guy. EG.IdrA was in South Korea at the time, so these guys were never really like real teammates or practice partners. They were just sort of part of the same organization. So here they are playing on Tal'Darim Altar. This is game 1 in a best of 3 series being played for Dreamhack Summer. And these are actually from the group stages. Obviously, if you do well in the group stages, you move on into the playoff bracket. But these games were played a couple of weeks ago. You guys will have to excuse me. This is my first cast in about a month. I moved all the way out to the West Coast from my home in South Carolina all the way out to San Francisco to start working for IGN Esports with their IGN Pro League. So haven't actually had a lot of time to cast for YouTube. In fact, I just got my desk assembled late last night, and I was so tired that I just went straight to sleep, but here I am. My computer's all hooked up. I'm very, very happy to be out here in San Francisco doing a job that's so heavily involved with StarCraft 2. It's pretty much a dream come true, and I'm living with 2 guys right now, actually, the Gunrun and Fish Sticks. They both work over at Justin.tv, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. It's a live stream service on the web that lots and lots of StarCraft 2 commentators have been using, including Day 9, people like Destiny, Spenny Shiwa, White Raw, Huck. Pretty much everybody is using Justin.tv to stream live, and I'm actually streaming this cast live right now. If you didn't know that, I actually have a channel, Justin.tv/JoshSuth, that I'm streaming this cast live on just to help me get back on the horse and have some motivation to get started back with YouTube. But here we have some action finally going on, so let's talk about this game. Enough about me and my glorious comeback here. We have a Nexus coming up here at the natural expansion for Grubby. We have a Forge coming down as well. As pretty much a standard Forge fast expand, no gateway at all so far for Grubby or an assimilator. EG.IdrA over on the other side, he does have his spawning pool up. He doesn't quite have 100 gas yet to get that metabolic boost started. And it looks like Grubby and a probe were just having a fight there, but the drone actually got the kill. I apologize for missing that. What I'm sure was an epic battle there between workers, but EG.IdrA finally has the clearance to drop that hatchery. Soon he'll hit 100 gas, and we can basically expect that Zergling speed to start as soon as he has 100 gas and the appropriate mineral count. But we do have 4 Zerglings already headed up to Grubby's Forge Fast Expand area. This Overlord's already checking out everything anyway. EG.IdrA split off 1 Ling there to hang on to that Xel'Naga tower just so he can have some additional map vision, but these first few Lings will probably start gnawing away on any loose probes. For example, this little guy who's just unfortunate and out in the wilderness by himself. There's Photon Cannon here about to finish, so these Lings, they can get some free hits on this Nexus, and I doubt they'll actually be able to kill the Nexus before, these probes come to defend, and if the first Zealot gets warped out here, he's not going to spend any Chrono Boost on it. He's not panicking. He's just building another Photon Cannon, easily going to be able to help stay alive here against these 3 Zerglings. Probes being microed away efficiently. 1 does go down, so that's already a nice pickup for EG.IdrA. All 3 of his Lings are still intact. He's starting to chew on this cannon a little bit, but Grubby should be able to repel this pretty easily with just probes. And as soon as this cannon finishes, it's going to be over with, going to be done. I just said for some reason, but a Zealot pops out here, able to repel that last Ling all the way back in EG.IdrA's neck of the woods. He's dropping a 3rd base already after that Ling attack sort of just fizzled out. This 3rd base is actually going to certainly help EG.IdrA stay 1 base ahead of his Protoss opponent. He says, all right, you want to take a free base? I'll take a free base. I know you don't have anything that can come over and kill me aside from probes dropping pylons and cannons. That's too big of an investment for Grubby to actually try and kill that 3rd base if he indeed scouts it at all. So he does know about the natural expansion. Just took Grubby's vision there for a second. If you didn't see it, sorry. Go do that again. Grubby knows about this expansion. He did take a little run around this base earlier in the game when the extractor was still being built, but he can kind of have a general idea now of what EG.IdRA's doing aside from that sneaky 3rd base coming up now. And EG.IdrA probably not even going to build any fighting units here to help deal with this Zealot. A single Queen, maybe even a 2nd Queen to come down here and help defend is all he's really going to need against this Zealot. Grubby actually showing some star sense and headed over to that 3rd base incredibly quickly, going to find that hatchery. So EG.IdrA, already his dastardly plan has been revealed to this Zealot, to Grubby, and he's just going to continue running in with the Zealot to try and see any additional tech structures, but it looks like he just kind of let him get exploded by those Zerglings and Queen combination there. He's not going to get a peek inside of this base, but really there's not a whole lot to see. Only one evolution chamber up so far, probably just doing that for some future detection. He hasn't even started any upgrades. Oh, actually, range upgrade headed up now, but he doesn't have any Roachwarren or Hydralisk Den, so the range upgrade coming super duper early here out of EG.IdrA. I wonder if this is a build he has specially prepared for Tal'Darim Altar. Excuse me, getting this third base up quickly, getting that range attack before even having a Roachwarren. It's just kind of interesting. And Grubby, back at his base, he's getting 2 Stargates very quickly, and EG.IdrA is going to see it incredibly quickly here with these Lings. This is a very strange spot to put these. He could just keep them in the main and at least force EG.IdrA to do an Overlord run by and try and steal some information. The Stalker actually did just kill an Overlord, but of course EG.IdrA is well prepared. He knew that Overlord was kind of a sacrifice. Does not get supply blocked, although of course you never want to lose an Overlord if you don't have to. Either way, these Stargates are going to finish up. Grubby doesn't really have the cash to start building a ton of stuff. He can get these 2 Phoenixes out of the gate, but other than that, he's basically broke. He's only got this 1 Stalker, 1 Sentry, and a couple of cannons up here at his natural to repel any Ling attacks. Fortunately for him, EG.IdrA doesn't really have anything to attack with. He's got a round of 10 drones happening right now. He's going to be up by about 8 right now, but these first 2 Phoenixes could actually do some real damage here to EG.IdrA if they can spot some Overlords, if they can maybe take out a Queen or 2. This game could rapidly go into Grubby's favor. If you look at just the supply count right now, though, Grubby is a bit behind. He's about 15 supply behind, but if he takes out these Overlords, takes out those Queens, and he might even have some free time to kill some drones before those Spore Crawlers finish up, he could actually roll right into a comfortable lead. And it looks like 2 Overlords are being constructed right now for EG.IdrA. After losing that one, there is a Spore Crawler already up at the 3rd, but that's not going to stop these Phoenixes from coming in and taking out this first Queen. Queen number 2 shows up, and in conjunction with the Spore Crawler, he is able to take out one of those marauding Phoenixes in trade for that 1 Queen at the 3rd base. And here comes the natural, another Queen getting picked up. 4 Phoenixes in the air for Grubby now, going to have his choice of Queens to kill here. 1 Spore Crawler is still up here at this natural, but the Overlord's starting to take fire now. This cannot be fun for EG.IdrA, losing Queens, losing drones, losing Overlords. He just does not have any fighting units really to repel this, aside from those Queens and Spore Crawlers. Got to be frustrating. His Roachwarren is only about halfway done, and of course they can't hit air either, so he's basically at a Grubby's mercy for the time being. EG.IdrA is actually sneaking a 4th base way over here on the far left side of the map, the far left bottom corner there, that spawn position. So that's kind of interesting. I did not expect him to do that. They'll put him up on 4 bases, and if he gets enough drones there, it can certainly be an advantage. But this Phoenix number is getting really, really high. The lair is complete now for EG.IdrA. He's getting Pneumatized Carapace just so the Overlords can run away from the Phoenixes a little bit quicker. Another Spore Crawler takes out another Phoenix there. Another Overlord getting jammed down by this flock of Phoenix. And another Overlord. I'm sure this has got to be frustrating for EG.IdrA, but he does have a little wave of Speedlings about to start hitting the natural of Grubby. There are 2 cannons and some well-placed Stalkers and Sentries already here, though, so I don't imagine him getting too much damage done. Overlord's still taking some damage. Grubby trying to micro these Phoenixes away before the Spore Crawlers can take them out. Pneumatized Carapace does finish up, so the Overlords are a little bit quicker, but still so many minerals and so many larvae, that extra resource that EG.IdrA is having to spend here just to keep his Overlords in the air, and he's still losing them pretty rapidly. There are 2 of them here in the red. This one survives with just 1 HP. If he had gotten that last shot off, who knows what would have happened next. There go 2 Overlords for the price of 1. 111 over 96 supply there for EG.IdrA. Grubby still staying pretty solidly ahead here. He's got his Gateway forces on the ground. They don't have any upgrades. This Forge is churning away on +1 weapons. These Lings are going to get bounced back a little bit. Phoenix is still gathering up their energy. Still 5 of them marauding around, and now the first wave of Hydralisks is out for EG.IdrA. He's got a Nydus worm actually being built right here outside of where Grubby's trying to take a 3rd. What unfortunate timing for our Protoss player. EG.IdrA with a lot of Lings and now a Nydus worm loading up some Hydralisks. They're already loaded up. Here they come popping out. Easily going to force that cancel there on the Nexus, and they just jump right back in. 8 more Hydralisks on the way now. That range just finished up, I believe. Let me actually find that Hydralisk and I can verify that. Yes, the range attack just did finish. Grubby is here with some unupgraded Stalkers. They don't have their 1-0 yet. These Hydras do have their 1-0. You'll remember earlier he was getting the upgrade before he even had any Hydras. decent force fields, but not going to lock out any of these Hydralisks from actually being able to attack stuff. The Phoenixes really are playing a pivotal role here, lifting as many Phoenixes as possible, and Grubby looks like he's going to repel this attack pretty handily with this Phoenix and Stalker combo. Nydus Worm gets taken out. We do have another Overlord flying here over Grubby's main, so he could actually drop another Nydus Worm, and there we already see it. Grubby, of course, it only takes about 5 probes to kill a Nydus Worm before it spawns, so he's doing a little bit of overkill here, easily going to be able to take out that worm before it even finishes. So EG.IdrA has revealed his sort of trick for the game, and that's going to be Nydus Hydralisk attacks. He does have a lot of speedlings up here too, just using all the rest of his extra larva on those lings. He's got 1,000 minerals floating, or did a moment ago, and not that much gas. He's blocked just by his gas right now. Phoenixes, Stalkers, and Sentries still having a decent battle here in the middle of the map, and Grubby looking pretty solid here. He does have his +1 weapons finished now. EG.IdrA has his +1 like we saw earlier. Hasn't started, actually has started that second upgrade. I was looking for that armor upgrade, but he's just going to go heavy on the weapons for the time being. Grubby actually can't get out of here with a lot of Stalkers alive. He got a little bit far on that creep. If he wasn't going to be able to deal a killing blow, that might have been a pretty drastic mistake there, as those lings can help surround. The Hydralisks move so much faster on the creep, and they do have superior range and damage to those Stalkers, DPS at least. And that 4th base for EG.IdrA actually starting to kick in now. He does have decent mineral saturation there. These Stalkers, if they can get in far enough to start killing off Spore Crawlers, those Phoenixes will be able to help out once again. There's an Observer overhead, killing off Creep Tumors. EG.IdrA does a little bit of a run-by counterattack over here, but Grubby has lots and lots of Warp Gates here available to get some Zealots and Stalkers to go ahead and defend that. I haven't seen anything out of that robotics facility except for that first Observer, so I'm a little surprised. Here actually comes that first Colossus coming along here soon. Extended Thermal Lances as well for him. Roaches and Lings popping out now for EG.IdrA. Still a couple of Hydralisks as well. I wonder if he's going to start using that Nydus Worm play again. He does have another Overlord queued up here to the side of Grubby's base. This spot here might be a good one if he can get a spot with no vision from Grubby already. That could be a very, very effective attack. If this Overlord just sneaks in a little bit closer, maybe right here outside of Grubby's range. Yeah, right here would be perfect. But of course, EG.IdrA doesn't know that. He's got to be a little bit more careful. Maybe he'll start to do a Nydus Worm back here in the back of his base, but who knows? We'll just have to keep watching. Phoenix running around, Stalker running around, trying to find some extra bases. Has not found that one, that 4th base way over here on the left side, but now he's going to walk on the creep, discover that, start trying to pick off some drones. What's popping out of here? Just an Overlord, so it looks like he will get some drone kills. There is another Nydus Worm popping up here in the main of Grubby. But like I said earlier, it only takes a couple of probes to actually kill that off. But luckily for EG.IdrA, he got 2 roaches squeezed out of that thing before it actually had its death wail. He's going to kill a couple of probes here, and Grubby forced to warp in a round of Stalkers to be able to defend against this. If you look at the supply right now, EG.IdrA has kept such a good handle on this game. Even though he hasn't actually won a lot of engagements, he does have 40 more supply than his Protoss opponent, and those Lings and Roaches making up a huge part of that. This Colossus here starting to rack up some kills. Guardian Shield goes up. A great move there against these 2-0 ranged attacks from EG.IdrA. Grubby sitting at 1-1 himself, so the upgrades are actually fairly even. We've got Glial Reconstitution coming for EG.IdrA and Aspire coming up. Extended Thermal Lances are going to finish right now for Grubby as he takes his 4th base way over here on the top left side. These Lings may discover it here soon. We'll just have to see, but Grubby pushing forward. This is actually kind of scary since EG.IdrA does have that huge supply lead still that we saw earlier. The Colossi being nestled in the back here are going to be great against these Hydralisks, but the Stalkers and Zealots really need to stay alive long enough to provide that buffer between the Hydras and the Roaches and those Colossi, because they will fall really quick if those Hydras get in range. Their DPS is just really, really sick. They do 14 damage very, very quickly. So Grubby staying by the Zelnaga Tower and keeping an eye on everything will take his vision. He can actually see quite a lot there. Another, no, not a Nydus Worm, just those Lings that we saw earlier that were running around the map. Going to take out this cannon. Probably won't be able to take out both of these Zealots though, so Grubby's got a handle on that. He's got his 4th base coming up here soon. Still in a pretty good position here with these Colossi. It looks like he did have an Observer. Yes, he does still have that Observer there for some Creep Tumors. But EG.IdrA pressing forward now. Let's watch these Hydralisks, just keeping them selected because the Colossi do rip through them pretty handily. But if EG.IdrA can continue to move forward, that force field was just totally worthless right there. Another force field really not helping out too much. EG.IdrA just retreats back to the creep. He's going to score some free Zealot kills there with his Hydralisks. And the Colossi still just trying to do that dance, stay alive as long as they can. They are racking up those kills. 16 kills on this one. That is a Master Colossus. These poor Stalkers don't have Blink just yet, or they may never, but they are getting those upgrades. Just Stalkers without Blink, and now Corruptors in the air, focusing these Colossi down. Doesn't look like Grubby's going to be able to hold on to these Colossi too much longer. EG.IdrA in the production tab has more Roaches and Hydralisks coming, and I believe that count will be able to effectively counter this number of Stalkers. This Colossus will just barely go down with 24 kills to his name. Here comes another Colossus just walking right up, taking out some Hydralisk and Roaches as fast as possible. Grubby is still on the warpath here, and now he has taken a 20 supply lead. This is actually pretty incredible stuff. Grubby, of course, is certainly an underdog. If you just look at the NASL standings, you'll see that Grubby did not win a single series against 9 different opponents, and EG.IdrA, of course, did make it to that playoff bracket, so Grubby definitely an underdog. EG.IdrA has several big tournament wins to his name, and Grubby really doesn't, but he is mowing right through here in this third base. This actual hatchery here doesn't have really any defense to it. EG.IdrA just pooling all of his Zerglings and Hydralisks back a little bit by his natural, waiting for the inevitable onslaught there, trying to max out as many Roaches and Lings as he can, spending that money. He's still a little bit blocked by his gas count, but Grubby doing a great job with his spending as well, actually. Under 200 minerals for a large portion of this game, and he rips right through that third base. Now he's on the warpath, taking out some Overlords, taking out some Creep Tumors. He is taking it right to EG.IdrA's front door. This could be the engagement that determines the game. 2 force fields do go down. I would have loved to see a third one there, but the sentries just did not have enough energy. These Corruptors actually making a big difference, spamming Corruption and then attacking those Colossi as fast as possible. Grubby could have been a little bit more careful with that Colossus, but instead he is going to lose it, and EG.IdrA actually fighting back now. He's got a 33 supply lead, and he is taking out both Colossi. I really did not expect that, but that's what you get when you bide your time. You continue spending your larva as well as you can, and EG.IdrA looking pretty. Despite losing that hatchery, he's now up 40 supply against his Protoss opponent. His upgrades are looking pretty good still, 2-0. Grubby has taken some time to rebuild right now. He's 40 supply down. He needs to get those warpins. He needs to spend that Chrono Boost. It looks like actually he does have a pretty good spending of his Chrono Boost right now on upgrades. He's, this one's max energy though, and this one I believe also max energy. Could be spamming on those warp gates, spamming this ground weapon level 2, spamming that Templar Archive. Well, not the Templar Archive yet, but you know, he will maybe saving up for Psystorm. But yeah, these Hydralisks and Roaches, it looks like they are aware of this 4th base. Yes, I'm not sure when he actually spotted that, but we know for certain that he knows about it, so maybe he'll go and try to attack that, or maybe he'll just try and kill off this force if he thinks he can win the engagement. Here come a lot more Roaches here from the south, and it looks like Grubby is going to be forced back into a retreat. He's down to only 130 supply now. They have that corruption on them, so they're taking bonus damage from these Corruptors. All the Roaches circling now, and Grubby, after looking so fine down there in the bottom right corner of the map, taking out EG.IdrA's third base. Grubby does have Blink now, but that almost is not really going to be enough. He just doesn't have the firepower right now to match this swarm that EG.IdrA has conjured up, and things are looking pretty bleak here for our Protoss player. These Stargates haven't been used since the beginning of the game. Those Phoenixes did such an epic job early on, taking out Queens, taking out Overlords, but he just did not follow up with any Void Rays or anything like that. Once there's a high Hydralisk count, it is sort of ineffective, but those Gateways just not enough Colossi, not enough careful unit control, and it looks like EG.IdrA will be taking game 1. There are the GGs. And EG.IdrA, actually, I thought he was in big trouble there for a big part of that game. All those Phoenixes were so effective. That big Stalker and Colossus count down there in his third base looked very worrisome, but EG.IdrA just kept his cool, masked up a bunch of Roaches and Hydralisks, just held back at his natural, and once he saw the choke point to go attack with his Corruptors, Hydras, and Roaches, he took his chance and he fought him back, eventually coming back to win the game. So huge congratulations there for game 1, but it is a best of 3 series, so let's move into game 2 now and see if Grubby's got an answer for this American Zerg player.